Good morning. Oh dear. Been up for a good while this morning. Playing, watching some videos. I actually watched a video from my friend Steve Hart just a little while ago about Christian mysticism, and I'm actually going to include the link to that uh, at the end of this because I think it has some relevance to what I had decided I was going to talk about, which is 2012 Connecting Heart to Heart. Steve Hart. Just just caught that right now. To me, it will seem rather ironic as the human race experiences humility and empowerment simultaneously. On the one hand, we will realize how much we have lived on a foundation of lies. It is from this awareness that we will experience humility and a contriteness of heart. Yet, paradoxically, knowing the truth about our being and our existence will be the most liberating and empowering activation of consciousness the world has ever known. Finally, we will be able to connect heart to heart with one another. Together, we will co-create the kingdom of heaven on earth. I can just hear some of the Christians especially arguing with that last sentence. We are going to create the kingdom of heaven on earth? As if God does things independently of creation, independently of us. God does it for us, not through us. That's the pattern of thought that I admit I used to have. I didn't realize how much and to what extent God actually creates through created beings, or actually we weren't created beings, but that's another story. We were eternal and we have always been part of God. But we don't know that. We forgot that because of all the mirage and illusions of physical existence. We have forgotten who we are. And when it dawns on us, when the truth finally breaks through our thick skulls and our hard hearts, when it finally gets through to us how much love has been embedded in the creation itself, and it's always been there, even as God has always been there yet never seen, it will blow our minds. It will knock our socks off. We will be taken by surprise, but it will be a surprise of joy to know that we've always been loved. But we've been so stubborn in arguing for our limitations. We've used scriptures to argue for our limitations. We've used science to argue for our limitations. We've used every philosophy and mental device known to man to argue why we are less than what we really are. And as we begin to grasp the truth and the magnificence of creation itself, of which we are not only a part, but active participants, powerfully active participants, when we realize that, I imagine we'll feel as I have felt different times in my life when I realized how strongly I believed something and how I felt when I realized that what I believed wasn't true. That's why I direct your attention to Steve Hart's Christian mysticism thing, because mysticism is about experiencing something beyond mere words, beyond mere doctrines and dogmas and things that somebody else said about God, and something that you discover for yourself about not just God, but creation and life and the whole mystery, because it has been a mystery. From the perspective of humans, this whole thing has been a real big, gigantic conundrum enigmatic, exceptional, vague. Yes, a mystery. And we haven't known. But someday, very soon, as we see not just in the religious or spiritual arena, but in all the arenas, as the political and the monetary system leaders of our world get arrested in the very near future, as they are brought to justice, and the truth finally makes mainstream news, and the reporters are able to tell the real truth, not the BS spin created by the spin doctors of the Illuminati, the power brokers, if you will. Not that, but the truth of how much has gone on behind the scenes, how big the conspiracy to control has been. Control and limit and minimize and invalidate the human experience. And we'll realize how both sides have played off of each other and helped each other create the illusion. How we've created the matrix, the same way we're going to create the kingdom of heaven. It's God working through us, allowing us to gain wisdom and learn the truth about how things really work. Truth that we conveniently forgot so that the experience would be real and driven home and embedded in our very DNA, if you will, embedded in our very makeup. We would know the truth, and it would be at first humiliating, for we would realize how little we knew when we thought we knew it all. But in that same humiliation, in that same awakening to how wrong we've been, will come an infusion of power, because we'll finally understand how it has always worked, which we couldn't see. We were self-deluded. All of us. Doesn't matter which side we were playing on. It was self-delusion. Whether it was the religion that we thought was the absolute religion, whether it was the scientific paradigm or the scientific theory that we thought had to be the way it really is. And we realize, hey, I was wrong. I was wrong. But in realizing how wrong we were, we will then uncover the secret, the key to getting it right, finally. To returning home, finally. To the Creator. To the King. And everything will all of a sudden begin to fall in place. And as I said, we will co-create the kingdom of heaven on earth. Why? Because we will recognize heart to heart. What I always say at the end, namaste. We will recognize the divine in one another. And we'll realize it has nothing to do with our crazy religions. Nothing to do with any of our belief systems. It has to do with the mere fact that we are all cut from the same cosmic cloth, if you will. We are part of the fabric of creation itself, interconnected by a loving Father and a loving Mother who have allowed us to play in our playpen and discover things for ourselves. Sometimes our playpen has been a pig pen. Sometimes it's been a killing field. Sometimes it's been an artistic explosion of creativity. Sometimes it's been destruction. We've been able to play in the playpen and discover all extremes and to experience all human emotions. And we will look at that other person and we will be able to be compassionate. You know, it's a funny thing. One of the songs we used to sing as I was a boy growing up in church and teenager, give me that old time religion, makes me love everybody. And even as a teenager, I saw the absolute lie in that, because I realized that we didn't love everybody. We didn't love people if they were the wrong color. We didn't love them if they had a different religion. We didn't love them if they were somehow not qualified to fit in our group. They weren't in our mold. And while we claimed to love them, theoretically, practically, that just simply wasn't true. I've told the story. I've told the story how when I was a young teenager, we'd have visitation in the community. And our church was located at that time in what was primarily a black ghetto. It wasn't totally black. There were a lot of white people living there too, but the majority were probably black. And we'd go out door to door, and we were instructed, if it was a black family, give them the literature, talk to them about God, that's fine, but don't invite them to church. We wanted to keep our church mostly white. There were some black people, but mostly white. And that's what they wanted. That's what the leadership of the church wanted. That's what the elders and the deacons wanted. And that's what we were taught. And so I went out and I started rounding up little black kids and having my own Sunday school. It wasn't allowed to be inside the church, but I had it outside the church in the back, in the yard there underneath the big porch-like thing. Because I saw the hypocrisy. Makes me love everybody, but only if they're white. Huh. Well, I've learned to love people even if they're gay, even if they're Muslim, or Hindu, or Chinese, or name it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've learned that there's wisdom. There's wisdom from the African community that they have to impart that the Europeans need to get. The Europeans need to stop having this attitude of we're superior, which Europeans have had for a long time, by the way. We need to get over that, because the blacks have a tremendous gift to give to humanity, just as the Native Americans and the indigenous peoples from all over the planet do. It's not just the white race. It's all of us. And all of the pieces come together. And we're going to be able to finally recognize each other heart to heart and say from our heart, Namaste. I recognize that you are part of God too, even though you're different than I am. Yet, at another level, we're all the same. And we're going to be able to see that, and it's going to change everything. It's a whole new dynamic, a whole new dimension of thinking, of awareness that is transformative in its nature. And we will lay aside all the pettiness and all the insane arguing over who's right, when we'll realize that from each of our perspectives we all were, and yet none of us were. Do you understand the drama that's unfolding in 2012? As the old paradigm is being burst asunder on every level, the economic level, the political level, the business level, the corporate level, the religious level, all of it is being burst asunder to reveal the magnificence of who we are, the magnificence of God's love in each of us, through each of us, that we were not what we were told. We were not born in sin and shapen in iniquity. We were not eternal sinners in the hands of an angry God. We were not what we've been told by either our scientists or our religious leaders. They've all lied. But who are they? They are us. They are an aspect of ourselves because we've lied to ourselves. And we're going to see that. We're going to see it really, really plainly. And it's going to change everything. It's going to make for a whole new world. Because finally, at last, we will realize that as God is love, so are you, so am I. And we're going to see heart to heart. We don't need to all agree. We don't need to all accept someone else's belief as the true belief, because we'll know there is no true belief. It's all belies. It all belies us. Ah, belief. It's about lies. The lie is in the middle of belief. It's always a lie. So don't hold your beliefs so strongly. Hold your love much more strongly. And open your heart and open your mind. And allow the Spirit, the great Spirit of Creator God and Goddess, to shine love through you. From love you came, to love you go. Be still, my child, and you will know. Namaste.